This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Show us your purple preset for a chance to win Vikings draft party tickets. Set KFAN as a preset on the iHeartRadio app. Screenshot it and post with hashtag KFAN purple preset to your social media. And make sure to follow and tag KFAN. Winners will be DM'd daily. Get the full rules at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
I've got a good vibe with the Vikings, and I think I can speak for them. They're going to allow somebody to select their very first player in the draft, to make that pick, enter the war room.
That'd be life-changing.
That would be life-changing. It would really be life-changing for the coach and the general manager, because depending upon the pick, they might be fired. So I hope you enjoy the draft party. We'll have plenty of coverage on the draft on Thursday. Third best day in sports. Day number 3 of the NFL draft is number 1. Day 2 is number 2. And then Day 3 is the third day, best day. And then 10 and B will break it all down the following day. Want me to check in from the fairways of the Pines, or?
I'm sure we'll be fine without you.
Okay, very good.
We'll be okay.
All right, good. Just wanted to make
Unless
sure.
something controversial happens and you.
Very good. Time for 534.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. Programming predicament.
Yeah, the Twins face the New York Mets again tonight at 6:40 p.m. You can watch it on twins.tv. The Wild can clinch a postseason berth with at least 1 point tonight when they host the Anaheim Ducks. That game starts at 7 p.m. on FanDuel Sports Network. Of course, you can hear that game right here on the Fan. We also have NBA play-in games tonight. Atlanta is at Orlando at 6:30, and Memphis is at Golden State at 9 p.m. Both those games on TNT. Common, what are you going to do about tonight's
Programming predicament?
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started on this tropic board aboard this tiny ship.
I think I'll watch them Gigans, as Deuce would call it. Gigans. That's what Deuce calls it, Gigans. Maybe little Gigans. If I were to watch, I really would pick the Wild, just because, I mean, it's not do or die, as you mentioned. If they get other things that happen, they could even lose tonight and I'd get a point and still qualify for postseason play.
You got to play it like it's do or die, though. Yeah.
Right. But my guess is they will. What I don't understand is... I
was going to bring that up for question 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then why don't we go ahead and do that? I think so. That's what I would do. Question 2 is going to be controversial. This could stretch for the entire show.
2.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
New Wild defenseman Zeev will not make his NHL debut tonight when the Wild host the Anaheim Ducks at Xcel Energy Center. Good news, though. Both Jared Spurgeon and Jake Middleton will be back on the blue line, returning from injury to be in this game tonight. As you mentioned, Common, got to treat it as a must-win for a chance to make the playoffs tonight. Common, do you have an issue with the Wild not playing Zeev Boyum?
You're asking what camp I'm in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the kid play. I don't mind going from the frying pan into the fire. There's going to be a. I mean, I suppose it was intense while playing in the playoffs. He was in the WCHA playoffs in Denver and got eliminated, right?
It's not the WCHA. It's the NCAA, but yeah.
NCAA, whatever it's called. I'm not paying as close. Do they even have a WCHA anymore, or is that defunct?
No. They do for women's, not for men's. But Denver plays in the NCHC.
I guess I'm a little behind. So, NCHC.
Well, it wasn't that long ago where the WCHA disbanded. So
NCHC playoff hockey is probably pretty intense, but he's on equal footing with those guys and one of the better players, right? So it's like now he's coming in. He's never skated in an NHL game, and it's not a must win, but as close as you can.
It is.
Well, it isn't because technically you don't, but you're right. I mean, you'd like to,
but it might be.
Yeah, it could be. Right.
Yeah,
it's exactly right. So to throw him out there, and I bet he'd comport himself quite well. I don't think he'd be lost out there, but he'll get his fair shake. He'll get time on the ice eventually. How about you? You told me that social media.
If social media is any indicator, there are Wild fans that are very upset that he's not playing. And, I get it to a certain extent because he's your best prospect. We've been talking about him all year. Hey, maybe they can get Zeev Boyum in the lineup down the stretch. Unfortunately, it got extended a little bit because his team was so successful. They got to the Frozen Four, so that got delayed. And what's also even more unfortunate is that the Wild put themselves in a position where this is basically a must-win tonight, right? If they would have beaten Calgary Friday night or won some games previous to that, they would have clinched already. Then we would be seeing him tonight, and you would be resting Spurgeon or Middleton. But because you think it's a must-win, I'd like to see him as much as anybody. I'd like to see what he does because obviously he has a ton of upside, more upside than most of your defensemen, but I think people, they get the idea of best prospect and think that, like, hey, that guy's going to be like an immediate miracle worker for us, right? Because they probably look at the rest of the team and go, hey, we really need a spark here. I think it's a lot to expect of a kid who's 19 years old, is making the jump from college hockey. Just throw him in your NHL debut and basically a must-win game. And to expect him to just, like I said, perform miracles for you, I think, is asking a lot. Even, Brock Faber's the comparison, and Brock Faber's an outlier of a guy who played a couple games at the end of the season, and all of a sudden he was right in the lineup in the playoffs. That's very rare. And even Faber, at that time, even in the playoffs, they still had him on your third pairing, weren't throwing him out there for major minutes. They weren't putting him in challenging spots where it's a defensive zone face-off against the other team's top line. Even then, they protected Brock Faber, and he's one of the rare ones to come in and make an immediate impact. So, I hear people saying, well, throw him out on your top power play. Is it possible he joins your top power play and he's brilliant? Yes, because he was the highest scoring defenseman in all of college hockey. But to assume off of like one half of practice that he can just jump on a power play with Kaprizov and Boldy and Zuccarello and have like instant chemistry and know where each other's like, right? Like there's a chemistry to being on a team and playing with the same guys over and over again. Not to mention the speed of the game that he wouldn't be accustomed to yet. Doesn't mean he can't succeed in that situation, but I get like it's John Merrill versus Zeev Boyum, and people go, well, John Merrill's not that great. I just think that would be asking a lot, and I think they have to do all they can to win tonight's game, and they can't take the risk.
Well, Teneby, to quote the late, great Lord Chatterley, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. So if you're afraid to put in the top prospect that you have...
I wouldn't say I'm afraid. I'm just saying your top six are back to, apparently they're healthy. Maybe Middleton and Spurgeon are playing hurt. I don't know. But Like when this lineup's been fully together and it's been very rare, the team has been good this year. And, you can't mess around. Like you got to take care of business tonight.
And truth be told, what if the kid did lose the puck in the neutral zone and they go down and score, and they win the game, and then people be going, guess what all those people be doing? How do you play that kid in that situation? Yeah. I mean, what could you be doing? He just wasn't ready for the moment. It was too big for him. You got to win this game and you're playing a rookie? Just got off the ice. That's what they would say, the ones that want him. So I'm with you. It's a
big jump.
I don't think he'd be the difference either way. So he probably will end up having a terrific career. You get his jersey retired to go to the Hall of Fame.
That would be
National
great.
Hockey League Hall of Fame.
It'd be nice to have a Hall of Famer on this roster.
But I tend to. I was going to really go hard on being the guy that wants him to play and call for the coach to be fired and all that. And then I said,
you'll get some texts because, like I said, by judging by social media, there's a lot of people are very upset about it.
Well, this person,
and I get it. I want to watch him too. I want to see what he's got, but this is not the game to do it. Unfortunately, the Wild are in this spot.
Sidney Crosby was captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins at age 19. No excuse. Now he's comparing Zeev. How do you say it? Boyum with Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby. Yeah. Well.
That would be like comparing me to Paul Allen. I mean, come on. He's a national treasure. I'm the mediocre midday host.
Can we do a quickie?
Sure.
Question number 3. It's time now for a look at the ladies.
It's a ladies' night.
Paige Beckers was selected first overall by the Dallas Wings last night in the WNBA draft. Beckers, a 3-time first-team All-American from Hopkins, Minnesota, becomes the 6th player and first since Brianna Stewart in 2016 to be the number 1 pick after winning a national championship in the same year. Common is Paige Beckers, the greatest Minnesota women's basketball player ever. So Paige Beckers, of course, she played at Hopkins.
I'm well aware. I covered.
Ended up going to play for UConn, won the national championship with Gino Auriemma.
You don't have to explain it to me.
For a couple seasons.
I'm not PA. You're not Nordo. You don't have to explain it all to me. I think it remains to be seen. Was her high school career more decorated, more successful than... I mean, would it be Lindsay Whalen would be the best?
I was to say Lindsay Whalen, yeah.
So was it better than Lindsay Whalen?
I'm guessing her high school career was better.
Okay. And now we have to see what happens in the pros.
And more successful in college, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Lindsay was brilliant as a pro, right?
Yes, and won the Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, and they won a number of titles with her. So and it's a team game, so you got to keep that take that into it.
Also, down the future, you got to watch out for Chad Greenway's daughter.
Yes.
She is a stud.
That's what I've heard. But anyway. Yeah.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Well, let's pause. Come back when we do. I'm not going to miss it this time, Tenebee. It was so electrifying yesterday. Other side of the break, Tenebee's Purple Prey. That's next year in the fan. But right now, Tenebee's got a keyword to try to put a grand in somebody's hand.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword BILLS at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. The keyword is BILLS. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Procrastination. Putting it off. Kicking the can down the road. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, It'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Join the excitement at the Vikings draft party on April 24th at US Bank Stadium. Meet current Vikings and legends, all while taking in the action of the first round. Get tickets now at Vikings.com/draft party. KFAN is your home for draft coverage.
How many more episodes of Purple Prey are there?
I think there's 8 total. We go Monday this week, all 5 days this week, and the first 3 days next week.
I think I'm going to move my lunch to 1:15. Just for those.
That's a big announcement.
Well, think about it. I mean, I still, as I'm chewing, sometimes your question ends more quickly than I thought, and then I've got to wait to finish chewing and digest my food. During Purple Prey, you're going to talk nonstop. It's basically like having Warren on the air, right?
In terms of the intelligence of the content as well?
Well, no, I think more of just
the ability to blab on.
Talk, and I could eat my entire lunch and dessert, for that matter, but let's go ahead and get her done. It's time for Purple Prey.
Purple Prey, Purple Prey.
It's time now for Purple Prey.
Purple Prey, Purple Prey.
An in-depth look at who the Vikings should target in the NFL Draft.
Purple Prey, Purple Prey.
With the 12th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Christian Ponder.
I want to hear who Tanner thinks that we should draft today.
Hey, welcome to Purple Prey, which is it is sponsored by Heating and Cooling 2, our official draft partner. That's heatcool2.com. Heatcool, the number 2.com. And Common, we talk about where do we have needs. I guess if there is maybe a need, the position the Vikings are projected to take most likely from an odds standpoint at number 24 in the first round is at cornerback. So today we're going to find you a cornerback. And it's not the number 1 cornerback on the board. It's not number 2 on the board. Some might have him as cornerback 10, which means we might be able to slide down from that first round pick and go get him. But it's going to be this guy.
At 21, fourth quarter. DJ's picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick 6, Benjamin Morrison.
Yes, I would like the Minnesota Vikings to select Benjamin Morrison. He is a cornerback out of Notre Dame, 6 foot, 193 pounds, played 3 years for the Fighting Irish. And he comes from an athletic family. So his father, Darryl, played safety at Arizona. He was drafted in the 6th round of the 1993 draft, and 1993 NFL draft, ended up playing 4 seasons for Washington. But all of his siblings, and he's one of 5 kids, all of them Division I athletes.
Wow.
The oldest is Faith. She was a gymnast at Washington. His only brother, Sammy, played cornerback at Arizona before transferring to San Diego State. The middle child, sister Grace, played volleyball at Appalachian State, and the youngest sister, Naomi, won a national championship as an all Big Ten gymnast at the University of Michigan. So a very athletic family. What I like about Morrison, and I think one of the reasons maybe he's dropped a little bit in terms of where he's going to go in this draft is because injuries. He ended up missing the final 10 games of this past season with a hip injury. Had to have a hip surgery, his second hip surgery in 4 years. But he splashed right away on the scene. His freshman year in Notre Dame, 6 interceptions as a freshman. Was a freshman All-American. He led the team in interceptions. He had that 96-yard interception return for TD, which you you just heard on the highlight. So he was very good early on, which, like I said when I was talking about the wide receiver position yesterday, if you have a player that flashes at an early age playing against older players, that's a good sign. Now, in terms of how he would fit with B-Flow, he was primarily an outside cornerback in their 4-2 base scheme at Notre Dame. But occasionally he had the ability to move inside to the slot, so that, as you know, especially when they had him shadowing receivers, which they had him do because he was their best corner. So he's versatile. But also this past season, they used heavy press man, that's B-Flow's scheme. He wants
a heavy press man.
And he succeeded at it despite the fact that he didn't, he never played that in high school, never played press man until he got to college, and was an instant impact on a scheme that will be B-Flow's. He plays the fade really well. Returns his eyes to the quarterback, is able to defend that throw. I always think that's very important. The cornerbacks that never take a look back and just throw their hands up, that's when they get caught getting penalties quite a bit. He's confident when making plays at the catch point, obviously by the interception numbers he has. He also can fly off the edge as a blitzer. But what I like about him most is he is a hard worker.
Yes.
And he has competitive play personality, right? How many times do you see college players that are just great athletes and you draft them because they're super fast, super speedy? This is a guy who is mature, competes. He is loyal to his teammates. This last season when he got hurt, he was the captain of that team, and he still took his captain responsibilities to heart.
He'd fit in on this show. Hard worker.
Yeah. And one thing that I also noticed that I haven't really seen a lot of the draft nicks talk about
is 3-cone drill.
Well, some of the highlights when I was watching him play, he was going up against Marvin Harrison Jr. for Ohio State. So
Seriously?
I'm like, well, I'm going to go look at Marvin Harrison Jr.'s stats in those games.
He shut him down?
To see how he did, right? Because I saw certain plays where he was shutting down Marvin Harrison Jr., who last year was the number 1 wide receiver in the draft, and he's also better than any wide receiver that's in this draft. Twice, Notre Dame went up against Marvin Harrison Jr. In 2022, Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches, 56 yards. 2023, he had 3 catches for 32 yards. No tutties. Very pedestrian numbers for a guy who put up huge numbers in college. And like I said, Benjamin Morrison's probably going to slide a little bit just based off of the hip injury. It's a buy low opportunity, Common. Take advantage of other teams passing him up. I like Benjamin Morrison. Cornerback, Notre Dame.
Deuce Odell Cole had better numbers the other night in 4v4 at the Vine Street Fields, and Marvin Harrison had against Benjamin Moore. His father was the grandfather was Benjamin Moore Paints. It comes from that same family. I didn't know. You didn't throw that in there.
Well, it's Morrison, but...
well, that was his name when they came over.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Back when they came over from the old country, it was Morrison. Now it's Benjamin Moore. How do you like it? Meat Sauce just texted me and said,
Purple.
He goes, Common, you weren't even listening to anything Tennessee said, and he's right. I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Purple pray, purple pray. Purple pray, purple pray. Purple pray, purple pray. I want to hear who Tanner thinks that we should draft today.
Let's take a break and do it again on the other side of the break. Let's do another purple pray. We should do it twice or re-rack it, much like the Chris Finch interview. Maybe we could just re-rack purple pray and play that at about 2:45.
Do you have more lunch?
Today. No, I'm full.
Okay.
I got an orange to eat, and might make a piece of sourdough toast too, with a little butter. Just saute it on the grill. You eat for 90 seconds on each side. You'll eat your way right through to the grill. We'll pause. We'll come back. That was brought to you by our friends at Heating and Cooling 2. We appreciate their patronage, helping us with the draft coverage here on the Fan. We'll break. We'll come back with a little This That Lot. We'll come back with a little This That Lot on the Fan.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Indecision. Overthinking. Second-guessing every choice you make. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Beige on beige on beige. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Crawford, and I'm the founder of Meaningful Beauty. Well, I don't know about you, but I never liked being told, oh, wow, you look so good for your age. Why even bother saying that? Why don't you just say you look great at any age, every age? That's what Meaningful Beauty is all about. We create products that make you feel confident in your skin at the age you are now.
Meaningful Beauty. Beautiful skin at every age. Learn more at meaningfulbeauty.com.
Morning show up at Grandview Lodge, May 1st and 2nd.
More fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Don't miss out on your chances to win great prizes, including a custom KFAN and Grandview co-branded golf bag, a tailor-made driver, and rounds of golf. Oh, and did we mention a trip to, I don't know how to say this, Tanga Verde Ranch?
Yeah, Tonke Verde.
Tonke Verde Ranch in Arizona.
Yeah.
Get all the details now at KFAN.com/Grandview.
It
says it at the bottom.
It's a
Tanca Verde?
Yeah, it's a dude ranch that the folks, Cote family, COTE, would be probably great-grandfather now, gone but not forgotten. Started Grandview way back in the olden days, back in the Model T, Model A days, and they have a dude ranch down in Phoenix, Tonka Verde, I think is how it's pronounced. You had the pronunciation. I don't know. I've not been there, but they have that, and of course they have the Grandview Lodge. So then they have some other camps and such that they do.
So is the dude ranch only guys can be there, just like bros? Is that what that is?
Well, I think back in the day, probably just dudes just go.
Probably, yeah.
I think it's you get to play cowboy. It's like if you go to a so what would be an example? Sometimes they'll have Major League Baseball teams. If you pay them a whole bunch of money, you can actually go through a spring training and play baseball and such like that. I think that's what a dude ranch basically is. It's like, hey, you want to play cowboy for a while? Want to eat out under the stars? Some baked beans? Sleep under the stars? I should have been a cowboy.
Oh.
Is what it was all about.
Wasn't that Gilbert Brantley's song?
That was a Gilbert Brantley coming to. Where is he coming to? He's coming
Ledge
soon.
Amphitheater.
Ledge Amphitheater is where he's coming to. Katie, sent this text message that said, why can Big Ticket open a show with Marvin Gaye, but the Grum cannot throw to Thunder Island with the thermometer playing tag with 60? She loves that. That's my favorite part of the old Bradshaw, I was going to say Bradshaw and Bryant is our KFAN text line. It was our man of brand heating and air conditioning weather forecast. I've explained this before, and it's unfortunate, but because almost all music there's music that's in public domain now it's unlicensed music, just like what we play now for bumper music is unlicensed music. It's like Muzak in an elevator, and you can play it. There's no licensing to it, and we're allowed to play it. We can play regular music on the radio. We just can't put it in a podcast. When those ASCAP, BMI, the American Society of Composers, and blah, 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 and then BMI stands for something music industry or whatever it is. And when you play song, it's the writer that gets the money from the songs. It's not the performer. Like if you're...
Well, you always accuse Taylor Swift of not writing her own music, so just use that as your example.
Well, no, she writes a lot of her own music, but she doesn't write all of it. She gets help from people. And it's not an accusation, it's just the truth. And she wouldn't deny it herself. But I guess an example would be there's a song called Feelin' All Right. But Joe Cocker did the most successful version of it. Massive hit, right? It's been in movies, TV shows, commercials, but he only got montages. He only got money for Joe Cocker, the late Joe Cocker, from record sales. That would be the only way, or singing it in a concert. I mean, record sales. Dave Mason, formerly of Traffic, he wrote the song. So there's a formula they use in the radio industry. I used to participate in it as a disc jockey once a year for like a week or 2 week period. We'd have to do BMI ASCAP logging, where you would play a song. Let's say you're playing Cracklin' Rosie by Neil Diamond. And then when you were done with that song, you would start another one. You would take the 45. That's not a gun. It's not a malt beverage. It was a record. And you would look at the title of the song and underneath is who wrote it. And I believe Neil Diamond also wrote that song. And you'd write Cracklin' Rosie, April, what is the date today?
15th.
April 15th, tax day. April 15th, 1:39 p.m. I played Cracklin' Rosie, written by Neil Diamond. Then radio stations all over the country send those back in, and then they do the formula and say that song was played X amount of times across the country on average over the year, because they just average it out. Sabermetrics and analytics. And Neil Diamond should get a check for $150,000 for that song alone, right? But those licenses were all established when there was just radio. Well, now there's podcasts. Mm-hmm. And so we thought, hey, we'll just play them in the podcast. And I said, whoa. BMI, ASCAP, and all the writers go, no, your license is for over-the-air radio. If you want to use my song on a podcast, you have to give me more money. Well, that's going to be millions and millions of dollars. It's outrageous. I mean, it's not outrageous. I like that the artists get it. I can actually stick up for a radio company, so we're not going to pay that kind of money on a podcast. Now, we've done this before. When Tennessee plays a montage, like Nothing's Going to Stop Us Now, we just take it out of it. We don't put it in the podcast. We can play it over the air because we're licensed to play that song on radio, but we just can't play it during a podcast. So I'm assuming that JG takes out that he eliminates whenever Barrero starts talking, when he goes, this is your blah, blah, blah leader, that's when the show actually starts on the podcast. You don't hear the beginning music. If you do, we're in trouble, or could be in trouble. So that's why we don't do it. Now, I've talked to Tennessee about this. If we wanted to do an Amanaban weather forecast again, we could do one, but Tennessee would have to go back after the show was over, find that spot, and splice it out. And we're going to do that every once in a while. We're going to do flashback. We're just not going to do it that often because me as the host, I don't like to impose upon the producer of the radio show. He's so busy all the time. He's got so much to do. It's a stressful job being the producer of the Common Man program. So I would not want him to do that.
It can be a little inconvenient sometimes to have to edit it out. Sometimes the computer system is not as speedy as it should be.
Are you using Next Gen?
Next Gen?
I don't know. I just
not for that. No.
Okay.
And now I forgot my second point. Oh, the second point was, it's also the more times you have to edit out, the more likely to make a mistake and you leave one on. And now I don't have a job anymore. So to me, a lot of just the straight up bumper music's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth the pain of having to do it and the pain of risking making a mistake on it.
If we do it just once a week and I remind you of it, then
sure,
we could do it. We might do that. We might go back to a Dylan duet with Jim Crochet's Operator. It's always one of my favorites. One of Ted B, so maybe we might do that again. So that's my explanation for you. Again, it says our local hockey association plays music at the game. Should they be paying for something like that? You absolutely should be. If you're not, you're breaking the rules. But, that's like if you have a jukebox at a bar, you got to play BMI Ask. If you have a cover band that comes in, let's say you've got, the Common Man Band, and we're playing, Mo Money, Mo Problems, which was what I would start my set with. And we're playing Operator. Yeah, the establishment has...
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. The establishment, every music establishment pays money into Ask. Now, I don't know if that's just a flat fee, because I don't think the bartender's over there writing down all the songs that are being played. Yeah. I just think if you've got a band that's playing music or you're playing a jukebox, indeed you have to take money. So that's kind of the situation there.
Well, if you're not documenting, though, how would you know which artist is supposed to be getting that money?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe they just split that up evenly. I don't know how they do that. Maybe you're supposed to document it. I don't know. And maybe they do. I just know it's complicated, and it's just, and for our purposes, as much as we enjoyed playing music on the air, because we actually used it as part of the show. I would do Dylan duets. A lot of times Tennessee would play, not a lot of times, all the time we're playing music from my era for the most part, and I would occasionally spend an afternoon every bumper music guessing. And this was riveting radio, lean-in radio. A lot of people liked it. I would guess what year it came out and how far it got on the Billboard Hot 100. And then we would do the weather forecast, and we'd have a lot of fun with it. So, but those days are gone forever, and we should just let them go. Can you quote lyrics from songs, or do I get in trouble for that? Because that was from Boys of Summer, which was done by Don Henley, not written by Don Henley. It was written by somebody for Tom Petty, from Tom Petty's band. I think one of his guitar players is a guy named Vince Flynn. No, Vince Flynn was a writer here. Vince Neil. No, he played for somebody else.
Was he in Poison?
He might have been in Poison.
Or one of those types of bands?
Yeah, one of those types of bands. Was a guitar player? There were two guitar players for Tom Petty. Tom Petty's guitar player ended up going to Fleetwood Mac for a while. What the hell was his name? Was it Finn? Oh, I just can't remember anything. And I guess it's not important at this point. But
Mike Campbell?
Mike Campbell, that's who it is. It's Mike Campbell. And I think Mike Campbell wrote Boys of Summer, I think. And again, never quote me on anything, because I just make stuff up as I go along. Somebody wanted to correct me on Lady Chatterley. I said, Lady Chatterley said, and this is our darkest hour. And they wanted to correct me and say that wasn't Lady Chatterley. So I make mistakes. They're honest mistakes. I lie for a living, but I'm honest about it.
I wish I could write a song.
I wish I could write a song that makes the young girls cry. I write the songs that make, quoting another song. Yeah, have you ever tried? It's impossible. That's why I idolize and pedestalize musicians and not athletes. You've heard me say this. I can swing a bat as good as any Minnesota Twin. I can swing 3 times and miss and go back to the bench. It's not a problem at all, right? I can swing a tennis racket. I can't win. He says he has 2 Minnesota Boys State High School hockey tennis championships, but we know 1 for sure, but I can't play tennis as well as Justin Gard could. Can't play hockey like you can. I can't skate. But I can do all of those sports, but I can't play a guitar like a ring and a bell. And I can't write a song either. I've tried.
I do think my batting average would be similar to a lot of the Twins players right now.
Think about it. The highlight / low light of your career was in a 3 home run rule league. You weren't even you check swinged one over the fence. You weren't even trying to hit a home
opposite field.
Opposite field, just like that. Here's that story I talked about yesterday from The Athletic. It was written by Christian Clark. He writes National Basketball Association. Warriors coach Steve Kerr thinks an 82-game NBA regular season is too much. Here's what his story reads. Steph Curry remains one of the NBA's greatest draws. His limitless shooting range, ball-handling wizardry, and childlike joy for the game still cause fans to line up around the court to watch his pregame warm-up. For more than 2 years, one of the league's must-see talents didn't play in New Orleans. Curry missed 4 consecutive games in the Crescent City in the 2022 calendar year. Resting Curry on the second night of back-to-back was a factor in 3 of those decisions. Before Golden State's November 2022 game in New Orleans, Warriors coach Steve Kerr apologized to fans who had that night circled on their calendar. He told the media before the game, "Again, we're just trying to think of the big picture. Ultimately, the players' health is the number one factor in our team's success and even more than our fans' satisfaction in the long run because we want to keep guys healthy throughout the season." Kerr added that he was a proponent of the NBA shortening the schedule from 82 regular season games to 65. Kerr feels so strongly about this issue, he emailed NBA Commissioner Adam Silver before the start of this season to plead his case. Back in November, Kerr said, "I'm concerned about the product because I think we're asking way too much of our players. The game has never been more difficult to play at a high level night after night after night. We should account for that. We all need to be thinking about that for sure." Story goes on to say, in his playing days, Kerr watched Mike Jordan suit up in all 82 regular season games twice when they were teammates on the Bulls. Kerr accomplished that feat 4 times himself. He did miss a game for the Bulls at any point during the 93-94 for 4 consecutive seasons, including the playoffs. Kerr played 385 games across the 4-year window, an average of more than 96 games per season. Why does a former player with those credentials believe the length of the season needs to be reviewed? Here's what Kerr said. Pace and space. When I played, you didn't have to run out to 30 feet to cover a shooter. Now you do. Back then, you played the game at a very small circumference. Now it's a big, wide circle, and you have to cover the entire court. Everyone is playing faster. Kerr spent the final season of his career with San Antonio. The Celtics led the NBA in three-point attempts, hoisting an average of 26.3. The Kings played at the fastest pace of anyone in the league, averaging 96.6 possessions per 48 minutes. Teams that pushed boundaries more than 2 decades ago would be considered laggards today. This season, the Celtics once again led the NBA in three-point attempts. They're launching a staggering 48 threes per contest. 7 of their players attempt 5 or more triples per game. Kerr says, the numbers do show that our players in the NBA are covering way more ground than they were 15 to 20 years ago. That's easily trackable. That's, I think, significant information. It matches up with what we are seeing on the floor. And, I'm always, you've heard me dismiss or sort of mock and ridicule the whole idea of, got to travel 2 time zones, got back-to-back games. Because we've heard, I love the quote that we had from the Greek freak Antetokounmpo earlier this year when he said, well, the reporter was trying to give him an out. Back-to-back games, traveling. He goes, well, we got it pretty nice. He goes, when we pull up at the airport, our cars are waiting there right outside the airplane, and they're warmed up for us. So basically saying we've got it really nice. But, if you are a team that is going to play hard for all 2 hours and 20 minutes of the game, it's about 220 for a game, right, all together with halftime and everything. And look, if you're giving it everything you've got every night, you are going to you're going to be tired, especially at the end of a night. If you got back-to-backs, I can see that, but I just don't think I think right now, I don't think teams are doing that all the time. We've had Wolves players say they tried harder than us. That means you're not going at 100%. And it's probably unrealistic to ask every team to go 100% every single game from start to finish. Guys are going to, take a breather on the court every once in a while, but it's like, so I understand what he's saying. For me, it's not even.
Maybe they're not going 100% because the ceiling it's too long and grueling.
That's it.
Maybe if it was 65 games, they would.
That's it. And so there might be there might be something to that. The other thing, though, I would say is, for me, the shortening of the season, and you and I discussed this. I remember, was it the strike season when it was 50 games? You had to play hard every game, because if you went on a 6-game losing streak, you were basically out of the playoff picture, right? Every game was more important. 65, that would still be how many less? I mean,
17 less.
Yeah, 17 less games. That would mean you have to be careful of what kind of losing streaks you go on, or just giving a game away because we want to rest players, or we think this is a what did Jimmy Butler call the Wolves? A skip game? I think that's what he called it. You know, you're not going to do any skip games. Now, of course, the fatal flaw to all of that is if there's only 65 games, my guess is the contracts will go down for the players. They'll go down for the coaches. The networks won't make as much money. The advertisers won't get their product out there quite as much. So I think I understand what Kerr's saying, and I concur, pardon the pun, I concur with what he has to say, but I just don't think we'll ever get there. Just like the National Football League is never going to go back on games. They're expanding. They want to go to 18. More. Major League Baseball is never going to go back to 154. NHL, I hardly doubt will ever go back under 82.
I would love for the NHL to go to 65 as well.
Yes, because the games would mean more. Each game would mean more, and do you really need to play that much? I guess you do. So
I mean, that's what makes the NFL great. Every single game is extremely meaningful.
Yeah. I mean,
and Major League Baseball now, I mean, every day is like, oh, no big deal. We'll get another game tomorrow.
Well, this is how important they are, Tennessee. How many teams that start the season 0-2? Make the postseason play.
Yeah.
It's weird that way, how that works. It's just, I would suggest this because the reason you're 0-2 is you're not very good, and that's why you're not making the playoffs. But apparently there's something magical about that 0-2 start. But so anyway, Stevie Kerr weighing in, and I would be all for that. I also think the playoffs can be a bit long, too. You know, then you add these.
Well, they're making those longer. Yeah. Major League Baseball, They made them longer, adding more teams.
And then you add this little play-in tournament. It's kind of preposterous to me, but nevertheless. Let's do this. Let's take a break, even a little bit early, because we just can't get enough of Mark Rosen. The more minutes...
you just want your $20.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're itching to get that $20, aren't you?
The earlier we break, the more Mark Rosen we get. He joins us next. Common Man program on the Fan.
Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include a lot more people than ourselves. Loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, we help plan your financial picture with the bigger picture in mind. Because even though our business is helping guide your finances, our ambition is to make it mean so much more. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.